Well, hello and welcome to another of our short videos looking ahead to some of the aspects of the life of our church. In the next few minutes I want to address the whole issue of how we're doing this transition to villages over this time in April and May and into the period which begins in June. These are very interesting times for us as a church, and there's some very exciting things going on. Many of the newly formed villages are beginning to be very inspiring, and people are beginning to gather and beginning to commit themselves to the vision and the values of these different villages. And over these next weeks we'll hear more about those. There are meetings arranged, do look out in the news sheets for when these take place, where groups will gather and commit themselves to this sort of aspect of mission that they sense God has called them to. I myself find this very encouraging when people are going for stuff that they think God has called them to. And so in the next few months, as from now, April and May, we'll see more of the opportunities to meet and to talk and to pray. And then actually we'll begin to see people committing into the villages that so far are being formed. Now these, I guess, won't be the only villages that will be formed in due course, but for now, many of them are related to the home villages for each of the local congregations, or some of them are cross-congregational and some are specifically in a particular congregation. Now I want to encourage you to think about where you belong in one of these villages. It's our hope that in the future we will all be part of one of the mission villages. I'm sure there's things we need to work on and resolve in the process, but that's part of the adventure of it all and the fun of it all. Part of the goal of it all, of course, is that actually we will begin to both show the love of God, but also communicate the love of God in a very real way to those with whom we share the journey. So over these next weeks, I want to encourage you to look out for, again, some of the villages that are meeting and make yourself available to go to some of those meetings. Talk through with the leaders, check out the stuff on the websites. But when it comes down to it, by the end of May, we hope that many of us will have made that commitment. And from the beginning of June onwards, within the villages, the cells will meet on a fortnightly basis. We're going to call that our key teaching and key cell nights. That will relate to the sermon series that we're teaching on a fortnightly on the Sundays, but also give us cell materials to use within the village life. The in-between weeks, though, will be weeks that the village will set the agenda. And so there may be a whole village meeting, it might be one of the events that the village is arranging, and we're encouraging the village leadership to arrange their events on those in-between weeks so that we keep our levels of time commitment and meetings at a minimum. It's my hope that as we go on, these villages will become clearer and more aware of the membership they have and how they can best use that membership as a resource. Finally, can I put in a plea for all of us to think about how we might serve in these villages? One of my concerns as I've been going around talking to people is that they feel they have to be very active in the mission area. My experience is that we need a whole group of people who are those who resource a mission area. And so we need people to consistently and regularly gather to pray. I don't expect to see breakthrough until we become clearer about our prayer. And actually in June we have a weekend of prayer set aside that will be for the mission of the villages. But I also think we need to serve, and part of our serving may just be facilitating how the things run. It may be babysitting for people so they've got more opportunity to get to things. It may be doing some of the basic stuff of admin that needs to be done. Our goal is to keep these mission villages quite lightweight in terms of admin, but even so, things need to be arranged, communication needs to take place. And these are places where those who are not maybe so outwardly focused on the mission can still get behind an area they feel is very important. So there's a place for everyone in these mission villages, and I want to encourage you to think about what that place may be. Just perchance you don't really know and understand much more about what it may be, or don't feel drawn to any of the existing new villages, then we encourage you to get involved in the home village for the congregation where you worship most regularly. There's a good chance that there you'll have an opportunity to support and encourage a new, fresh approach to welcoming, to outreach, to discipling and to encouragement, as well as to running something on a Sunday that is very special. and a unique place for people to come together. So please do pray about these things, do talk about these things, do encourage each other about these things, but do yourself get involved in these things so that you can feel part of what God is doing here. Okay, thank you for watching this short video. I hope you find it helpful, and I look forward to seeing more of you involved in more of these villages in the future.